In our journey through life, the virtues of simplicity and contentment are often overshadowed by the pursuit of more. But what are the spiritual consequences of this relentless greed and overconsumption? Today we explore how our desires bind us and the path to spiritual liberation through mindful living. Greed and the endless chase for more can lead to a profound spiritual disconnection. Consumed by material desires, we drift away from our true essence and the deep connections that ground and fulfill us, connections to nature, to each other, and to our inner selves. As we chase after wealth and possessions, we often overlook the spiritual nourishment provided by silence, nature, and introspection. Our ancestors understood the importance of these spiritual connections as fundamental to our well-being and the health of our planet. Consider how modern lifestyles prioritize consumption over conservation. We consume more than we need, and in doing so we exploit the Earth's resources, disrupting the natural balance. This overconsumption is a manifestation of our inner emptiness, a gap we attempt to fill with physical objects instead of spiritual fulfillment. This greed and constant desire for more can also be seen as a symptom of a deeper spiritual crisis. It reflects a society that values profit over people and things over experiences. By succumbing to these desires, we feed a cycle of dissatisfaction, always seeking the next thing without ever finding true contentment. But what if we paused and redirected our focus inward? Spirituality teaches us that true satisfaction comes not from what we acquire, but from what we give and how deeply we connect with ourselves and others. Every spiritual tradition emphasizes the dangers of attachment to material goods. From the Buddhist teachings on impermanence to the Christian warnings against idolatry, we are reminded that it is not the material world that will offer us salvation or peace, but our actions and our commitment to a higher purpose. In rediscovering our spiritual connections, we also rediscover our responsibility to the world and to each other. This path encourages us not only to consume less, but to love more, to share more, and to honor the sacredness of all life. Let us then seek to bridge this spiritual disconnect. By realigning our lives with these deeper truths, we can heal not only ourselves, but our world. It begins with understanding that every choice, every purchase, and every interaction holds a deeper spiritual significance. As we delve deeper into the spiritual implications of our actions, we encounter the concept of karma, often misunderstood as a simple cause and effect. In truth, karma reflects the profound interconnectedness of our actions, thoughts, and the universe. It's about how the energy of our actions, especially those driven by greed and attachment, cycles back to us, shaping our experiences and our future. Material attachments bind us not just physically but spiritually. Clinging to possessions, we tether our spirits to the impermanent, distracting ourselves from the pursuit of more enduring spiritual goals. Every excessive purchase, every moment spent yearning for more wealth, sends out ripples through the cosmos, ripples that eventually return to us often as life lessons wrapped in challenges. Imagine for a moment the life of excessive consumerism as a chain. Each link represents a material attachment, a gadget, a garment, a gem. As this chain grows heavier, it becomes harder to move freely, to experience the lightness of being that spiritual freedom offers. This karmic burden can manifest in various forms. It might be financial debt that seems never-ending, relationships strained by financial disputes, or a pervasive sense of never having enough, which clouds our happiness and peace. However, karma is not just about retribution, it's about learning and evolving. When we recognize our unhealthy attachments and make conscious efforts to detach from materialism, we initiate a positive change in our karmic trajectory. Such shifts are transformative. They aren't just about decluttering physical spaces, but about clearing our spiritual paths. As we lighten our material loads, we make room for richer experiences, deeper relationships, and more profound peace, true treasures that no amount of money can buy. In essence, detaching from material goods is a reattachment to the spiritual essence of life. It's a return to what truly matters: love, joy, peace, and connection. And as we align more closely with these values, our lives become more fulfilled and our karmic burdens lighter. Let us embrace this journey of detachment from the material and reattachment to the spiritual, for in doing so, we discover the path to true liberation and lasting happiness. The more we consume, the more we feed the illusion of fulfillment. True happiness and peace, however, are not found in possessions, but in simplicity and gratitude. The endless accumulation distracts us from the profound joys of spiritual awakenings and the simple beauties of life. Let's explore why this illusion is so compelling. It begins with the bombardment of media and advertising messages that associate products with personal success and social status. From a young age, we are taught that certain brands and possessions are symbols of achievement, and acquiring them becomes synonymous with attaining happiness. However, the thrill of a new purchase wears off quickly, leading to a cycle of continuous buying, what we often refer to as retail therapy. But this therapy is temporary, as the root of contentment isn't addressed. The more we acquire, the more we think we need, and thus, the cycle of dissatisfaction continues. This cycle not only affects individuals but ripples through communities and across generations. It cultivates an environment where self-worth is measured by material wealth rather than character or personal growth. This misplaced value can lead to strained relationships, social isolation, and an erosion of community bonds. Moreover, this illusion of fulfillment distracts from spiritual and emotional growth. Instead of turning inward to develop personal virtues or outward to build meaningful relationships, the focus shifts to accumulating things. This shift not only stunts individual growth, but also impedes our collective spiritual evolution. But how do we break free from this illusion? It begins with awareness, recognizing that true happiness comes from fulfilling relationships, meaningful work, and personal growth. It involves redefining success, not by what we own, but by who we become and the positive impact we have on others. As we shift our focus from material gain to spiritual and emotional enrichment, we find that the true fulfillment we seek isn't in a store or a product. It's within ourselves and our communities. Let this realization guide us toward a more connected, content, and spiritually fulfilled life. In this vital chapter, we focus on reclaiming spiritual integrity, an essential step in transcending the materialistic values that have infiltrated our lives. Spiritual integrity involves aligning our actions with our deepest values, ensuring that our spiritual beliefs guide us in every aspect of our existence. Spiritual integrity calls for a profound honesty with oneself. It requires us to question not only the what and how of our actions, but also the why. Why do we desire certain things? Why do we follow certain paths? Are these desires and paths in alignment with our true self and spiritual teachings? The challenge many face in maintaining spiritual integrity comes from the relentless pressures of societal norms and the fear of standing out or being left out. However, the journey to reclaim this integrity is not about isolation, but about transformation. It's about setting an example that inspires others to reflect on their own choices and perhaps choose a more spiritually aligned path. Reclaiming spiritual integrity also means embracing simplicity. It's about finding joy in the non-material aspects of life, relationships, experiences, and self-realization. Simplicity is not about denying oneself, but about prioritizing what truly enriches us spiritually and discarding what distracts us from our true purpose. Furthermore, reclaiming spiritual integrity involves forgiveness and compassion. These are not just ideals to aspire to. They are practical approaches to freeing ourselves from the burdens of anger, grudges, and the desire for revenge, all of which can stem from competitive, materialistic impulses. To truly reclaim our spiritual integrity, we must also cultivate resilience. This resilience empowers us to remain spiritually steadfast, no matter the external pressures to conform to materialistic norms. It allows us to maintain our spiritual focus, even in an age of distraction and instant gratification. Let us then commit to this path of integrity. By doing so, we not only enrich our own lives, but also serve as beacons of hope and guidance for others. Together we can create a ripple effect that transforms our world, one act of spiritual integrity at a time. It's time to align our lives with our highest values and embrace the profound peace that comes from living truthfully and purposefully. In our journey towards spiritual and ethical living, one of the most powerful acts is to lead by example. This segment explores how personal actions can become a catalyst for broader change, inspiring others to reflect on their own practices and embrace more mindful ways of living. Leading by example isn't about perfection or moral superiority, it's about authenticity and consistency in one's values and actions. It's showing that living in alignment with one's spiritual and ethical beliefs is not only possible but also fulfilling. Consider the impact of a single individual deciding to reduce waste, support local economies, or advocate for social justice. Each decision sends a message to peers, family, and the community about what is important and what is possible. This form of leadership extends beyond personal benefit. It builds networks of influence that foster collective action. When people see tangible examples of sustainable and ethical living, they are more likely to believe that these choices can be integrated into their own lives. Moreover, leading by example in a spiritual context often involves humility and service. It's about serving others not just through words but through deeds. It's demonstrating compassion, patience, and kindness in everyday interactions, which can be profoundly transformative. The true power of leading by example lies in its quiet influence. Unlike overt leadership that commands from the front, this form of leadership permeates through communities subtly but significantly, altering behaviors and shaping cultures in ways that loud directives cannot. Each act of integrity, each choice that aligns with higher ethical and spiritual principles, lights a candle in the collective consciousness of our society. As these candles multiply, they have the power to illuminate a path forward, dispelling the shadows cast by greed and disconnection. As we continue our own journeys, let us embrace the quiet power of example. It's through our actions that we can inspire change, lead spiritual awakenings, and contribute to a world where integrity and compassion are not the exceptions, but the norm. In essence, transcending greed and reducing overconsumption are not just ecological or economic issues, they are spiritual imperatives. By fostering a culture of moderation and mindfulness, we can heal not only the planet, but also our collective soul. Join us in this crucial conversation by sharing your experiences and insights below. How do you balance spiritual and material needs? Subscribe for more discussions on living a more conscious and connected life. Thank you for watching, and remember, the greatest treasures are those that enrich the soul. Until next time, stay inspired and stay connected.